We've all heard the adage, do what you love, the money will follow. Well, here's the question. Is this really true? And since it's not always true, I'll just tell you right out of the gate, when is it true and when is it not a good idea? So let me tell you the first condition of what I believe makes it true. And that is, do what you love, the money will follow, works if someone else is paying you to live. So in other words, if you really love painting, like fine art painting, and you can get somebody else to pay you to do that, it's an amazing job. You can follow that rule. But if you're trying to do it yourself, there's certain other conditions that apply for you to be able to make that decision as to whether you pursue that or not. So that's an adage that works in a world where you're working a job for someone else. If you're trying to do it on your own, there are certain conditions you should think about. So the question is, should I do what I'm really good at or what I really love? And that's a situation that a lot of people who are self-employed face constantly, because maybe they've been doing what they're really good at for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and now they're sick and tired of that, and they want to go out and do what they really love and start their own business. And so they're asking, which one should I do? So there's two conditions that I invite you to think about in this process. The first one is, how much time and money do you have? So if you got lots of time and you got enough money that you can afford to live for 2 or 3 years, then maybe you go after what you love, hoping that within that 2 to 3 years, you can put together a business that can be able to continue to pay you after that. If you don't have much time or money, then you probably ought to do what you're good at so that you can bring in enough money to pay for yourself. Second question is this: how good of a marketer are you? So if you're really great, you can do what you love. Maybe. If you're not so good, you need to get great at this, because it's almost impossible to run your own business and not be good at marketing. You've got to have something to bring that money in. So here's the thought that I have. So some of you I just really disappointed, saying maybe you can't do what you really, really love because there's these other conditions. I don't have a lot of money sitting around, and I'm maybe not a good marketer. And so then it's like, but Don, what you just tell me is I have to do this thing that I hate instead of this thing that I love. Well, here's the thing. You actually can do both. So here's what I suggest. Do what you're great at to make a living. Now, there's an assumption in this, and that assumption is if you're really good at something, you probably have some contacts, you probably have some opportunities, there's some trust out there in the marketplace for you to be able to go do that thing. And it's easier for you to be able to do that thing because of the context, the opportunities, and the trust that is already out in the marketplace. And so go do that thing to bring in what you need to live, and then do what you love as a side gig. So everybody's doing side gigs now. Why not do what you love as a side gig? You're bringing enough money from the thing you're really good at to pay your bills. Now do that as a side gig. And then when it gets going, that side gig gets really going, then reverse those two. And eventually eliminate, and so you're only doing that thing that you love. One final concept. I invite you to think about something. Is X, whatever it is, what you really love, or is it the avenue to do that? So one of the things that I've discovered is I really love teaching. Now, there are multiple ways to teach. I could go teach in a grade school, middle school, high school, college. I could go teach for corporations. I could run my own company teaching people how to do things. Realize if you really love teaching, changing people's lives through teaching, don't think of it as I've got to go become a salaried teacher. Start thinking, I love teaching. Now, how can I teach in a way that becomes profitable, more lucrative to me? Okay. Now, I know that there's a lot of people who consider the term lucrative to be a negative term, but if you think about it purely by what it means, what's the best way to bring in the maximum amount of money doing X? Start thinking that. What is the thing that you really love? Is it standing in a classroom full of 36th graders, or is it teaching, changing people's lives? If it really is teaching, changing people's lives, are there other ways that you can actually earn more than standing in front of a room of 36th graders? So think about all this. What you really love versus what you need to do to make a living, they may not be the same thing. And sometimes if you've got somebody else not paying the bills, you really need to do what you're really good at, not necessarily what you really love right at the moment. What's your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments. This is Don Crowther saying, just go do this stuff.